G'day guys and gal! In a setting full of roided up super soldiers, space bugs of death, blue communists with suspicious orifices on their heads, and big titty Eldar girlfriends, it truly warms my heart to see so much love given to the average guardsman. It's cool, and yeah, kinda disturbing to see how much love people give to the deathcore of Krieg, and awesome to see that Cadia broke before the Guard did. I get inundated with Guardsman video ideas, and my top 5 Guardsman regiments video was super popular, so today we'll be covering every single Guardsman regiment types in Warhammer 40k. I've written this intro without first checking how many there are, so I could have really screwed myself here, like I've done in pretty much every other video like this. Let's have a look. Oh shit. Oh well, we've come this far. Today we'll go over each of the distinct Guardsman regiments. I will be grouping all Acadian ones together to keep this video at a reasonable length, and if this video does well, then I'll give Cadia their own video. Let's get into it. Starting us off with everyone's favourite purple-eyed badasses, the Acadian Shock troops. Not to be mistaken with the significantly more polite Canadians, these men and women of a fortress world Cadia are born and bred for war. As Cadia was the first line of defense against the Eye of Terror, Chaos has been non-stop trying to slither its tentacles deep into its taint holes. Hence, the people of Cadia not only know of demons and chaos, but were born and bred to kill them. For a young age, they're trained, becoming crack shots before they start growing hair on their balls. Apparently, they also love sex, as they were not only able to maintain a big enough population to hold off chaos, but also deliver dozens of Acadian regiments to other battlefields in the galaxy. Acadians are in the category of obviously mutated by chaos, but it's kinda cute, so it's fine, as their proximity to the Eye of Terror has made their eyes purple. Sanguinis is also in this category, which makes it okay. Despite Abaddon showing poor sportsmanship and throwing a Blackstone fortress at Cadia, destroying it and killing a lot of people, there are still thousands of Acadian shock troopers out in the galaxy, fighting harder than ever to avenge their now dead world. The elite variant of the Acadian shock trooper are called the... Alright, watch me fuck this up. Cascarins. Sure. Next up is the Armageddon Steel Legion, which I know a lot of you guys have a boner for considering how many video requests I get for these guys. Coming from a planet called Armageddon, which is in a state of perpetual war, no shit, you would expect some hardy guardsmen to come from here, and you would not be wrong. These war-hardened men and women have an advantage that other regiments do not, a metric shitload of tanks. Armageddon produced a ton of tanks, and the Steel Legion enjoy the use of said tanks. What do you get when you have an army of Rambos born in Australia? The Catechin jungle fighters. These muscly dudes and dudettes are born on arguably the most hostile planet in the galaxy. The animals, plants, bacteria, and even the air wants to end human life, and despite a very spicy infant mortality rate, the Catechin jungle fighters have been able to live and thrive on this planet. For context, Catechin has been invaded by demons and Tyranids, with no success, as the Catechins, as well as the planet's horrors, were able to repel every invasion without too much issue. Who said you can't be stylish in war? Not the Maudian Iron Guard. These fancy blue and gold troopers look a bit soft from a glance, but once you get absolutely fucking bayoneted by one, you'll quickly change your mind. From the shitty world of Maudian, these badasses are known for their insane levels of morale and discipline. When a fuck-off huge demonic army invaded Maudian, the Iron Guard held them back with everything they had. Each meter of ground chaos gained could be measured in the corpses and screams of demons and chaos space marines. However, the battle was unwinnable for the Iron Guard. However, they held on long enough for Imperial Psychers to cut off the warp and starve the demons of their fuel. Since that fateful day, the Maudian Iron Guard were elevated to one of the greatest regiments in the galaxy and have seen deployment on countless battlefields. Next up we have the Tempesta Scions, who are the creme de la creme of Guardsmen. Although they are not taken from a specific regiment or world, they are still a force in their own right. They are the Special Forces, the Elite, the Navy SEALs, the SAS, and the Clapper of Cheeks. Armed with the most fun gear and weapons a human can hold, these one-man assault squads are the anvil and hammer in most situations. It's time for Krieg, the deathcore of Krieg. Now I, along with most other Warhammer YouTubers, have sucked these guys off on many occasions. They are the most badass and hardcore guardsmen and are literally unbreakable. They live to die, whilst ensuring they take as many horned fuckers to the grave with them. Whilst their gas masks were originally intended to help them fight on their extremely shitty death world, and they do help on planets that smell like shit, their main use now is so that their allies can't see just how young most Kriegsmen and women are. These warriors begin fighting to the death by the time they're in their young teens, due to their absolutely bonkers death rate. A Kriegsman's hobbies include bayonet charging a gunline, bayonet charging a Chaos Space Marine, and bayonet charging anything whilst making happy gas mask noises. Now we have the Guardsman equivalent of the Suicide Squad, the Penal Legion, aka the Last Chances. Basically, a cheery man called Colonel Schaffer goes to various Imperial prisons and picks out the best and brightest to join the Last Chances. If they survive a number of suicide missions, they are pardoned and set free. If they die during said missions, they are also pardoned. Bit of a win-win here, I would say. To be honest, if there had to be a movie about one Guardsman regiment, these guys might be the most fun to watch. One regiment of Guardsmen that might be able to actually match the deathcore of Krieg's boners for bayonet combat are the Venderland Guardsmen. What they lack in tanks, they make up for in their ability to stab shit, and their high amount of elite stormtroopers. Plus, these are the guys that fought alongside the Bloodravens in Dawn of War, so yeah, it's pretty cute. Next up are the Armageddon Orc Hunters, who specialise in diplomacy with Xeno races, most notably the Orcs. By diplomacy I mean decapitation, as these gnarly fuckers stalk the jungles of Armageddon, killing anything that's green and mean. Checkmate Shrek. To hunt an orc, you need to think like an orc, hence why these warriors are considered savages and are barely any better than the greenskins they slaughter. In recent times, the Orc Hunters have even teamed up with the Orcs in order to kill the demons that have been popping up everywhere since the opening of the Great Rift. It's heretical, but I doubt any Inquisitor wants to be on these guys and gals' bad side. Now onto the Asgardian Rangers, which despite their namesake, are not Norse, and they look like dog shit. They're more like Mongolians as they ride around on genetically enhanced horses as they scout out extremely hostile enemy territory. Due to how shit Asgard is, they are well adapted to fight and scout on a variety of planets, most notably Armageddon. Next up is the Athonian Tunnel Rats, who look fucking sick. Their home planet is in a constant state of gang warfare, teaching its youth a lot about urban combat and fighting in tight spaces. As such, when they join the Athonian Tunnel Rats, they're already masters of shooting people in the face in tightly packed rooms. These boys are the go-to for rooting out hidden Chaos Cultists and Hive worlds, or straight up saying sayonara to Gene Stealers. They don't have artillery, but they make up for that with their excessive amounts of flamethrowers. Onto something a bit silly now, we have the Itillian Rough Riders, who look exactly how they sound. A bunch of horse-riding actual Hun-looking Eskimos, these out-of-place warriors excel in horse-mounted spear combat. I mean, like, I'm not a military expert, but I thought horses were more or less redundant by the end of World War I, cause you know, machine guns are a thing. But it's nice to see cavalry making a comeback 40,000 years down the track. You might say calling these guys Itillian Riders is lazy rip-off, but I think it's a nice homage. As an avid fan of Age of Empires 3, I fucking hate Dragoons, but the Brimlock Dragoons in Warhammer 40k are an exception. They're probably the first regiment on this list I've mentioned that don't have inherently terrible worlds or lives, and as such, they're quite numerous, you know, but a bit vanilla. I mean, they ride horses sometimes, but at this point everyone fucking rides horses, so it's not much of a flex. They were known to fight against the Tau in the Damocles Crusade. A regiment that definitely isn't vanilla, however, is the Brontian Longknives from the world of Bront. These guys love to get their rigs out and stab bitches, while also getting stabbed themselves. But don't worry, it looks cool. Whilst Bront is an incredibly violent place thanks to everyone stabbing each other all the time, it's also quite respectful and disciplined thanks to the world originally being settled by veterans of war. A relatively unknown regiment, we now have the Devohn heavy armor who like tanks. I mean, who doesn't? And fought side by side with the doomed Cadians during the fall of Cadia. Another regiment aided Cadia and also likes tanks is the Halcyon Armoured, which is pretty much the exact same as the Devohn heavy armor, just with a different home planet. Some Guardsman regiments are designed to fulfill extremely specific niches. An example of this is the Disprian Mountain Men, who excel in Alpine warfare as their home planet is more or less just a big ass mountain. Now we have the Drukian Fenguard, who are a bunch of incredibly racist assholes who are also very effective warriors. Their planet is a smelly shithole that only the stench of Mortarian's home planet could compete with. They excel in infiltration and stealth missions on swampy worlds. Jetpacks are cool, and tragically underutilized in the setting of Warhammer 40k, hence I'm a big fan of the Elsian drop troops who are the Guardsmen with jetpacks, baby! Now, equipping an army with jetpacks is expensive, however the world of Elsia is full of money and natural resources, so that isn't an issue. If I had a choice, I reckon I'd pick this regiment, cause jetpacks and a livable world is a solid combo. Another regiment that also loves jetpacks are the Harakoni Warhawks, who are more or less just an elite stormtrooper version of the Elysian drop troops, from a different planet. Now we have the Feyburn Vanquishers, who are literally just Acadian wannabes. I'm not joking, it's common practice for Acadian commanders to travel the galaxy and train other regiments. Some take the training very seriously and end up looking, fighting, and fucking like Acadian. I would say some also wear purple contact lenses, but that is not confirmed. Next up is the Finrait Highlanders, who are literally carbon copy of real life Highlanders, except they have laser guns and shit. These men and women are extremely hardy, owing to the fact that their world sucks balls and they're based off Scottish people. Not all Guardsman regiments are cool, some suck balls, like the Gredask Illuminators, who are basically another one of the Ecclesiarchy's lapdogs, who also double as dodgy tax collectors. Entire fleets of ships would be grounded and forced to pay some kind of random bullshit church tax, as well as hand over their choir boys to sate the dark desires of these men. This next regiment actually has a pretty funny origin story. On the world of Indigar, the planetary governor had a hard-on for his zoo, and had a hobby of getting the most dangerous animals sent to his planet to display. One day there was an earthquake, which released his large collection of abominations that went into the jungles and began to populate and form deadly hybrids. As such, the Guardsmen of Indigar were forced to become capable monster hunters. Fortunately, this also meant they were outstanding when dealing with Tyranids, so I guess there's a silver lining. Now, we have a bit of a meme regiment that were actually featured on Alpha Buzz's Bro Trip series, the Jopal Indented Squadrons. The people of Jopal are put into debt upon birth. For raising them as babies, the planet loans them money, hence as soon as the people of Jopal are able to work, they do so in order to pay off their bullshit debt. One way out of the debt is to join the Jopal Indented Squadrons and fight for their financial freedom. Despite this literally sounding like a terrible way to motivate your people, it actually works pretty well, as the armies of Jopal are numerous and surprisingly well trained. Oh, holy fuck guys, this video is already at a solid length and we aren't even halfway through the regiments. There are so many regiments. I'm gonna call it. This is part 1. There will be a part 2, as the idea of making a 30-minute video makes me want to neck myself. And that does us for today guys, part 1 of every single Guardsman regiment explained. If you enjoyed the video and want part 2 to come sooner, and also want to see some anime titties, then Patreon is the place to be, where only $1 per month give you access to a boatload of Warhammer hentai. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more Guardy content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.